Should youth athletes lift weights? That's a common question I get from parents, especially when their child is 9, 10, or 11 years old and starting to take sports more seriously. Usually what they're really asking is a few things wrapped into one. Is just playing the sport enough? If we do something extra, should it be bodyweight training or actual weights? And how often is too much? So let's walk through all the considerations and I'll give my practical suggestions. At that age, pre-puberty, extra training isn't mandatory. Plenty of kids become elite just playing multiple sports without worrying about extra physical training. But I do think structured physical preparation is extremely valuable in their athletic development. First, it gives them something different. If a kid is practicing their sport 5 days a week, sometimes replacing 1 or 2 of those days with basic physical training actually makes both better. They learn how to move differently through sprinting, jumping, push-ups, and just general movement. This enhances their overall athletic ability while giving them a mental break from just practice, practice, practice. And it doesn't have to be some intense military-style conditioning session. They should learn good technique, progress reasonably, and learn to enjoy physical preparation. It also teaches another important lesson. Being good at sports requires more than just practice, and that mindset matters long term. And honestly, the biggest benefit I see isn't physical at first, it's psychological. I've worked with a lot of 10 to 12-year-olds, and within a month, parents are saying things like, he's more confident, she's more aggressive, he carries himself differently. That's not because training once a week made them dramatically stronger. It's because they're doing something extra. They feel ahead. Even if the strength gains are small early on, the belief that they're getting stronger creates a stronger belief in their abilities. They start having more success, and it creates that feedback loop of positive motivation that actually leads to them enjoying training. When they enjoy training, they do it more, harder, and longer. And that's what drives real progress over time. And to answer the safety of weight training specifically, when done properly, a reasonable strength program is often much safer than the sports themselves. Soccer, wrestling, football, those involve unpredictable contact and chaotic environments. A few push-ups, dumbbells, or well-coached lifts in a controlled setting are extremely low risk. And strength training does not stunt growth. That only becomes a concern if you're actually damaging growth plates, and that simply doesn't happen with proper strength training. Now let's talk about the big comparison, body weight versus weight training. Bodyweight training is fantastic for teaching kids to control their own body. Push-ups, pull-ups, sprinting, jumping, crawling, all build coordination and relative strength. The athletes learn how to move their bodies through space, an incredibly big part of athletic development. And they don't need 50 different variations. Master a few good basic movements first, and gradually expand their movement library. Improvement comes from progression, not novelty. I will release a full video at some point on how to structure a bodyweight program, regress hard movements, and progress them as the athlete improves. But for now, check out our technique videos, start with a few reasonable movements, and practice consistency and effort. Bodyweight training though has limitations, both physically and psychologically. I see this all the time. Kids who are overweight or just underdeveloped. They can't do a push-up, pull-up, and even more basic movements are sometimes a struggle. That's where weights become incredibly useful. Weights are very scalable. If a kid can't do a push-up, they can bench light dumbbells. If they can't do a pull-up, they can use a lat pull-down. We can regress movements nearly infinitely and progress forward precisely in a way they can see and measure. And that measurable progress is powerful psychologically. Now this is twofold. Adding a rep or just 2.5 pounds can happen regularly. The amount of progress doesn't matter. The fact they are progressing does. More important at this age than them actually getting stronger is their perception the training is working. Belief drives effort. Get them to believe something is working, and positive motivation takes care of the rest. Secondly, they feel like it's something older, more experienced athletes do. They have seen NFL combine videos of the bench press or their older brothers squatting. They feel like they're doing real training. So what's the right answer? How much lifting versus bodyweight work should a youth athlete do? That answer does depend somewhat on the athlete and how often they will actually be training. Let's now bring everything together into practical suggestions by looking at those two questions in combination with what we've already discussed. First, at this age, it should never be forced. We want them to like training, and forcing it this young may cause them to never want to as they get older and start making their own decisions. Secondly, whatever is chosen should be consistent. We want the young athlete to understand this is important. It's not something that they can just skip if they don't have time. At this age, it's better to do twice a week every week than to aim for 5 days and often miss sessions. They can always add more days later, but skipping often sends the wrong signal. Now, scaling this up to more training does depend somewhat on the athlete. I'll touch on that momentarily, but first, let's discuss the ratio of body weight to lifting. If the athlete is able to do some reasonable body weight movements, push-ups, pull-ups, sprinting, and jumping rope, that's a great place to start, because it can all be done at home with $30 of equipment, a pull-up bar on a door frame, and a jump rope. Slowly progressing to more complicated movements will be the topic of its own video, but getting a kid to just sprint twice a week, get good with a jump rope, and be able to do 50 push-ups and 10 pull-ups in one set builds a massive foundation. If going body weight only, I suggest starting twice per week, sessions lasting between 45 and 60 minutes. My best suggestion is once a week weight training supplemented with 1 or maybe 2, depending on the kid, body weight sessions. This gives them the psychological boost of weight training, plus the movement, control, and ability to train anywhere of bodyweight training. Just make sure with weights, they really start on the slow side, mastering great technique first. We have a bunch of technique videos on the channel, not to mention a great video on where to start as a beginner lifter and progressing that over time. Finding a good coach is also very helpful. Just make sure they take a form-first focused approach, especially with this age range. If the athlete really struggles with a lot of bodyweight work, then weight training is going to be your best bet. I like twice a week because progress just comes much quicker. But again, once can work as long as they are consistent. If only lifting once, a second day of some bodyweight stuff that they can do would be a great supplement. Things like some planks, sprints, or even just carrying around some weighted objects. If the athlete genuinely wants to do more, they can. But again, only within this rule. They can stay consistent. I actually suggest only having 1 to 2 planned sessions a week, but give them other goals. Like do 20 push-ups in one set by March, or get 100 jumps in a row while jump roping. In my experience, the kids who truly want it don't need pushed. Once they understand what to do, they'll practice on their own. Let that happen over more structured training. Show them good technique and give them some goals and guidelines, but let them figure out some things on their own. Plus, if they are deciding to do it on their own, it is much less likely they will burn out and actually enjoy the process of setting goals, working hard, and watching themselves get better. Training at any stage is about going from less to more. There isn't a magic exercise or amount of training. It comes down to being consistent, training hard but within your means, and progressing over months and years. Keep an eye out for more videos in this youth developing series, along with all our general sports performance videos for any age or ability. If there's anything in particular that you would like to see, please ask in the comments, and I'll get you an answer as quickly as I can.